Hey y'all, happy Monday. So I want to shore out our discussions on the helmet of salvation this week. And the last thing that I really want to talk about ties in from where we were Friday. Last week we dug into the story of David and Goliath and how it is such a perfect picture of spiritual warfare and what we see in the natural and the battle that we see in the natural versus what is truth in the spirit. And so, how David, just as a quick recap to set us up for this week, David was familiar with God's covenant with him, who the Israelites were to God, that they were his chosen people, and that God had been with them before, he would be with them again, and that the Philistines were not God's people. They were not in covenant with God. And so that allowed David to really set up, just God being for the children of Israel. And he did not let Goliath get to him. And, when we say that to somebody, we say, don't let it get to you. Don't let it get to you. Well, we mean taking that thought, meditating on that thought, rehearsing that thought so that it's what we think about and think about and think about. And we can build strongholds with those thoughts. I was listening to a minister, it's been last week or so, and he was talking about how we build strongholds and what strongholds are. And he described the stronghold as thoughts that the enemy hides behind. Building a wall or a fortress of thoughts that Satan hides behind. And of course, that's what we looked at in 2 Corinthians 10, where the weapons of our warfare are not of this world. They're not physical or carnal, but they're mighty through God for the pulling down and destruction of strongholds, where we cast down vain imaginations and every high thing that it would exalt itself above the word of God. So the weapons that God has given us are to demolish and pull down strongholds, those imaginations and those reasonings that would set themselves up against the knowledge of God. Well, to David, this Philistine, this army was nothing compared to his God. But to the rest of the Israelite army, he was terror, frightening. He was death, certain defeat. And so again, as we dug into the story and we read through the account, that 40 days, morning and night, Goliath would parade himself. All the while, the Israelite army continually building that fortress, that stronghold that the enemy hid behind, that Satan hid behind, saying that they would never be able to defeat this giant. They did not stand a chance, that the Israelites would be slaves to the Philistine. Every time Goliath came out, it was like setting another brick of the fortress. That's the importance of that helmet of salvation, where we wear it tightly around our head, guarded, renewing our mind so that the enemy does not have the chance to come in and build another layer of wall, build another round. And so we have to keep our helmet on. And I was studying again this week in preparation for our devos and meditating on the truth that salvation is a defense. And so where those strongholds that Satan would build would be his defense, the salvation that God has provided to us through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ is our defense. And we can put that helmet on and we can rest in his defense. We can rest while he defends. And we will pick up real tomorrow. I will see you then. Bye, y'all.